We are live.
We want the gold, sucker! We want the gold, sucker!
Surprise! It is not Thursday, but yet your boy Sage the Mark is here. It's Real Wrestling Podcast coming to you a day early. Got some things I gotta do on Thursday and had some fresh thoughts in my head, and I just figured I'd get this podcast out of the way, so that way, I won't get it to you guys late. I know usually I release this thing for Saturday for the audio podcast listeners, and I might be able to get this thing out to them on time this week on Thursday, but we'll see. But I woke up this morning, man. I was in such a good mood. I was like, man, today's the day that I'm gonna do this podcast. I'm gonna do this podcast on a Wednesday. See what the deal is. See if it's with it fresh in my mind, if it'll be a better podcast. So I go about my day, have a great day, finish work. Work is great. I take the girls to their activities and take them out to dinner. I'm still having a great time and everything's just going great. And I'm like, man, it's going to be great going into the evening. I get home, open the door of my car to let the girls out. And then I hear a big old splat. And my phone shattered into pieces. Sometimes you can't win, man. Sometimes you can't win. But you know what? Worse things can happen than a cracked phone. So cracked phones can be replaced. But damn, my phone looks terrible now. I just look at it and I just want to cower into a little corner. But I digress. Again, it's your boy Sage the Mark. It's Real Wrestling Podcast. Please be sure to like, subscribe if you're watching us live on YouTube. Share this link out, get it out. We're trying to get 1,000 followers by the end of the year. You know what the deal is. If you want to interact with us, you can interact with us here on the chat. Say hello to everyone on Twitter, Mixer, and Instagram, where we are all at. Twitter at Real WrestleCast. It's Real Wrestling Podcast, all spelled out on Instagram. And I got to get the call letters for the Mixer because it's all jacked up. But in any event, what a wonderful week of wrestling. Hot off the heels of Saturday's AEW and Evolve event. Then finishing it up with, not finishing up with, then the next day we had Extreme Rules, Raw, SmackDown. What a wonderful week of wrestling. I was thinking to myself, and before we get into like the reviews for both AEW and Extreme Rules, I was thinking to myself, like, how would I feel, like literally, how would I feel if this was like an ongoing thing? Like we have AEW pay-per-view on Saturday, and then we have a WWE wrestling event on Sunday. And, at first I think that was a little bit too much. Man, it'd be tough if they ended up having, like, on one of the big four pay-per-views where they have NXT. Like, I know that AEW won't do that, but it would have NXT and AEW on the same weekend, and then WWE. Man, that might be a little bit too much from a wrestling perspective. Like, I don't know if I could deal with that. Like, it was manageable this week. But I don't know if going forward, if I would be able to do that, like, in one sitting. I'd feel like my whole weekend would be, like, completely gone, having back-to-back shows every 2 or 3 weeks, from a pay-per-view perspective. But I don't know. What do you think? Do you think? How do you feel? Like that? More importantly, how do you guys feel about the pay-per-view schedule this weekend. Could you see something like this on a consistent basis? Like, would you be interested in that, or is it too much? Let me know. Hit hashtag IRWP on whatever platform you're on and let us know. Read out those comments for you there. But let's go ahead and get started, man. Saturday was AEW's Fight for the Fallen pay-per-view. And overall, I enjoyed the event. The 6-man tag match was like amazing. Probably my favorite match of the evening. Man, there was just so much talent in that ring. You had Darby Allin. You had Ty Dillinger, aka Sean Spears, MJF. Great storytelling in that ring. I completely enjoyed it. Like, it was like, man, that's some crazy talent. Like, you can literally build a company around those guys if you can keep them healthy and within storylines. And I know that this particular pay-per-view wasn't really centered around storylines. And I think we'll get there. You just have to have a little bit of patience. Right now, AEW is kind of in discovery mode, so they're still trying to get people interested in the different characters and the different personalities and things of that nature. But yeah, I absolutely, that was probably by far my favorite match of the evening, followed by probably the Kenny Omega and Shima match. And oh my gosh, I have never seen so many meteoras in my entire life. And that's not a bad thing in that particular match. Like, I liked it because, like, there was just some creative ways that Shima was hitting that meteor. I mean, he hit some in the ring, he hit some while Kenny was on the side of the apron. He even hit it in the rafters. Like, I'm like, yo, I thought he was literally gonna like cut Kenny's head off, but man, those are professionals for you, man. Professionals, and it was good to see. It was good to see Kenny Omega, like, to actually see Kenny Omega in a one-on-one match. I haven't been privy to watching him while he was at NJPW. Most of my knowledge of Kenny Omega has just been kind of like watching the YouTube videos that were available here and there. But to actually see him on this promotion, I thought was pretty amazing. And I feel that, I guess I shouldn't say I feel, but I hope that this stage in his career that we're not going to see more of I want to see him in more main event spots. I'm hoping that we didn't come into his career where he's just kind of on this downward spiral going out kind of thing, which I know that sounds kind of silly, but I want this company to be successful as possible, but I want to be able to make sure that we see him on a consistent basis as well as the Young Bucks, man. Young Bucks and Goldust and Cody, man, they just tore it up. It was definitely interesting to see them and the respect that those two teams have together. So, overall, from a match perspective, the matches I thought were perfectly fine. There were some issues with some of the matches, like the women's match, just kind of the second one with Brandy and not Britt Baker, Allie. I didn't know really what to make of that particular match, to be honest with you. It's the first time I've seen Allie actually wrestle. I didn't get to see her in TNA. And I know that Brandy's still coming along from a wrestling perspective. I felt that the ending of the match was a lot better than the beginning of the match itself. But those are just kinks. They'll get better at it and have more chemistry together. The one thing that I will say that I felt like was there's a couple of things that I thought was a pretty distraction on this particular pay-per-view. It was kind of the same criticism that I had previously when watching the last pay-per-view that they had. The commentary, man. The commentary has literally put me to sleep. I think I had to rewatch one of the matches just because the commentary was just really like something's missing. And I don't mean any disrespect to anyone up there. And I'm hoping, and I know this sounds bad, but I'm hoping that this isn't like the final commentary. but they need some energy into that commentary table. I think you had like one guy who was like a YouTube or Twitch commentator. He actually did pretty good play-by-play color commentary. I thought that was pretty cool. I can't remember what the guy's name in the mask was, but his commentary was okay. But I think JR is kind of like the missing piece of it. I'm hoping that they find a hype guy. They really need a hype guy, someone who has like a massive amount of energy to help bring these people to life. And yeah, I mean that's probably my biggest criticism of the entire pay-per-view. The other one was has to be just the sound system altogether. I could barely hear the time guy, the timekeeper make the announcements of when the matches were starting, or sorry, when the matches were at a certain time peak, like 30 minutes in, 10 minutes in, 1 minute left or 1 minute remaining. I thought that was kind of a missed opportunity. And again, I know that they're going to get better at it, but if I had to be honest, we definitely need to get better from that perspective. But yeah, all in all, I thought it was definitely a great show. At the end of the match of the Young Bucks and Cody and Dustin, Cody had taken the mic, and he made some comments, and I'm not going to search for them verbatim what the comments were, but in a nutshell, the comments were basically saying that we put on this event for charity, and last week I'm going to make a correction. Last week I said it was for veterans. Actually, it was for the victims of shooting violence that they raised money for. So definitely want to make sure they made that correction there. But yeah, he said, he was basically saying that you can't counter program our, what we're trying to do here, because it just won't work. And I know that a lot of people were giving him heat about that online, that he still kind of has that stigma about his former employer. And I say this, man, like, I get that criticism. Like, I completely understand, where you're coming from, that you don't want to hear them continuously taking shots at AEW, or sorry, at WWE, that it kind of makes it feel like you're desperate for attention, so to speak. Like, I get that argument. But I would counter that argument as well and just kind of say this, like you got to understand like where he's coming from. I'm not trying to capitulate because I don't know what exactly he's thinking, but just from the outside looking in, he was with the company for so many years. His whole family basically grew up in that system for one way or another. And the way he went out wasn't ideal. And once he left, there were still shots that WWE was taking at, Cody. The whole not letting him use the Rhodes last name was also an issue. So he's got a chip on his shoulder, and rightfully so. Like, some people are motivated by positivity, but others are motivated by, past experience. That's their drive, and that's Cody's drive. Like, his drive is to make sure that this company is as successful as he wants, or as he can make it. They basically built this company from the ground up, and to have a company announce, like a rival company that he has history with, to announce that they're going to, make a pay-per-view on the same exact day as their live event, it would piss me off too. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you, it would piss me off too. Now, I understand that that's business. Because it is. I mean, your whole competition thing is to kind of make sure that you do better than your competition, put them out of business to a point where, you either acquire them or they fall and go up. Like, that's kind of the ultimate goal in these types of situations. I get that. But I think that you could have done that at a different event than this one here, considering that this one was all for charity. I thought that was just, I agree that was kind of a crummy thing. And this is the thing, like the Evolve show, I get that it was planned months and months and months in advance. No one's disputing that piece of it. The fact that WWE decided to air this out, their first Evolve event out the same day AEW, that's not coincidence. To me, that was a knee-jerk reaction that happened, maybe a month. I'll give them that. Maybe a month is what they decided to do. Very last minute, in my opinion, for that kind of decision. So, I'd give Cody a break, guys. Like, I really would. Just give him a break. Like, it'll get better. We won't see as many. Hopefully, we won't see as many direct shots like that across the bow between both companies. I do think the competition is great. Like, competition between both. Like, you want that. You can already start to see WWE start to step up their game. And if you don't think that it's because of AEW, then you're kidding yourself, because it's exactly what it is. They're getting pressure from other promotions, plus they're getting pressure from their advertisers and the networks to do better, and that's exactly what they're doing. So, but I'll say that. So let's get into Extreme Rules. Extreme Rules, if I could recall last week, my rating on average was probably like a 3 in terms of my involvement, or not involvement, my how I felt about my enthusiasm for the show was about a 3. After watching the show, I would probably say that it went up to about a 4 from there, and that's a scale from 1 to 5. I just, on paper, I didn't think much of the card was really something that was going to be like awe-inspiring kind of thing. I wouldn't go as far as to say that it was predictable so much as I would rather see a lot of other people who don't get an opportunity to be on pay-per-views to be on pay-per-views. And a lot of the matches just kind of seem like repeats from prior pay-per-views. So, but with that being said, I definitely want go over some of the highlights of the actual show itself. So case in point, I'm starting to understand what they're doing with the Street Profits. They're acting as hype men. I kind of alluded to that the first week that they came out or premiered on WWE. Just wouldn't make sense to put them in a feud as active title holders in NXT. I like the fact that they're still doing stuff in NXT, but it's still showing up on Raw. But they're being utilized as hype men. I'm okay with them doing it up until Extreme Rules, but if you're going to utilize them in any other capacity going forward to SummerSlam, you need to have them involved in some type of match. I'm thinking, just with the way that the storyline with AJ and Ricochet is going, and the fact that that program is still going to go through SummerSlam, I'm thinking that the Street Profits are going to get involved in that particular feud. That's my best guess as to why they were kind of called up. Factions are going to be going forward into, I think that they're starting to book towards Survivor Series. So we're going to have to start seeing more 3-man factions. So we're going to have, the New Day. I'm pretty sure we're going to have the New Day. I'm pretty sure that we're going to have Aleister Black with the Street Profits. I would like to see Cesaro and Aleister Black with the Bray Wyatt, as in maybe another team in there. I know that that's kind of crazy, but that would be pretty interesting to see. But that's Survivor Series, so that's my best guess is why Street Profits are doing the way that they're doing. Going into this Alexa Bliss and Bayley thing, I was all for this storyline going up into Extreme Rules, but after watching Bayley beat them clean, I have no idea what's going on. Like, I'm more confused than anything else. Like, I don't feel like the storyline between Alexa and Nikki is increased at all with the aftermath. Like, there was no dissension in the match, despite the fact that Nikki Cross took the pen. or she tapped out. I think she tapped out. But in any event, I'm confused. And going into Raw, which we'll talk about in a bit, I'm even more confused as to what they're deciding to do. I feel like, and I'm hoping that I'm wrong, but it feels like they had a plan on what they were going to do. They were going to execute it, but then it got cut. And now they don't know what to do with it, and it's just blah. So I'm hoping the next couple of weeks that gets straightened out. Because it's bad. It's just bad. The main event was interesting. My prediction I had going in was I thought that Baron Corbin, and I was taking the long shot, Baron Corbin and Lacey Evans were gonna win the titles. And I had an oh crap moment after watching Kofi Kingston beat Joe for the title, because I thought after Kofi won, I thought that he was gonna get cashed in on. I thought to me it made sense that going into the Fox deal, Kofi's gonna get cashed in on. And when Kerwin faded to black and went to the next segment, I was like, crap, man, Corbin's gonna win, Brock's gonna come down, and he's gonna win the title. So with that in mind, the match itself was actually pretty good. I thought the chemistry between all four people in that match was actually a lot better than it had been in the previous pay-per-view and the weeks leading up to this pay-per-view here. So they definitely worked and stepped up their game. I thought the aggression and the intensity of the match, especially with the kendo sticks, were great. I love the fact that that Becky was taking it to Baron Corbin, and Baron Corbin was actually selling for Becky. That was my biggest criticism going into the last Raw, is that Baron Corbin did not sell anything that Becky was doing to him, and I didn't like that at all. It just seemed like, oh, you weren't supposed to do that kind of thing, and I thought that was terrible. But yeah, taking shots left and right with the kendo stick, I absolutely loved it. And that finish to the match was amazing. Like, I was just thinking to myself, man, if Baron Corbin hits the end of days on Becky Lynch, yo, this is going to be like epic level. Like, I'm a huge Baron Corbin fan. I always have been from the beginning, from his NXT days, up to the Constable, up until now. And him hitting that end of days was so satisfying to me. Not so much because I love Becky. Like, Becky's great. I really want to see a true like intergender match, and they've been giving us little teases here and there of them actually being able to do it, more so with the women attacking the men. Like Nia Jax attacking Mustafa Ali and Dean Ambrose. And I did like the fact that the Royal Rumble, she got hers with the the RKO and the 619. I love that. Like, that's wrestling, guys. It's wrestling. It's nothing malicious about it. It's just that's the way it should be, in my opinion. And to see them open the door with that end of days to Becky was just, man, I'm just so excited. Like, yes. We need more of that. So that's my thing. I absolutely loved it. And then Baron Corbin, just like, the camera shot was just amazing. Like, they just zoomed up on him and looked at, he pointed at Seth Rollins and just said, "What are you going to do about it, you piece of..." And I was like, yo, Baron Corbin on another level. And then, and the rest was history, man. Seth went enraged and beat the hell out of Baron Corbin. Gave him 3 curb stomps, which I thought was awesome as well. Great storytelling in this match. This is probably one of the best matches of the night on Extreme Rules. Definitely in the top 3 for sure on there. After he won, I knew, and I think most of us knew that Brock was coming out. That was the surprise. He came out, F5'd Rollins, gave him the 1-2-3, and our worst nightmare came true. And the thing is, I don't think that we as fans are like our boos. Like I know that the fans there were booing, but we're like at the point right now where we're just like, eh, like, eh. And we've had a year and a half, maybe 2 years of Brock's reign like this, where he just shows up whenever, shows up at pay-per-views, and that's it. Or maybe the day before a pay-per-view, and then at the pay-per-view. And I'm just like, I mean, that's what started the downhill of Raw for us, is just not having a champ available there. And this is going to naturally elevate the U.S. title, which, it's supposed to be a mid-card belt. And, if you only have one belt on there, it's just not going to, like, what is everyone else supposed to do kind of thing. So definitely not a fan of that booking. I'm hoping and I'm hopeful that they don't book Brock like they've been booking him previously. If you're going to give him a reign, just make it a short one, please. Have him lose it at SummerSlam. Because I don't want to wait till Mania to have him drop the belt, man. I think there was rumors out there that Matt Riddle is going to win the Royal Rumble and then challenge Brock, and that's way too long. Like way too long. I would much rather that happen at Survivor Series than like find a clever way to bring him up temporarily to fight Brock Lesnar. If he's just please don't. So, but I digress. Let me go forward. So Raw, the opening segment, Brock and Heyman come out. The main takeaway from this one here that was of any relevance to me is that Heyman came out and said that, hey, going forward, I'm calling the shots. And that was kind of a wink, wink. Hey, going forward, we're starting to take this ship to another direction. So I thought that was very meaningful. We had a couple of matches, and still that whole commercial break thing is going on, where they start the match or 2 out of 3 falls and commercial break. Y'all got to stop that, please, 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 please. I know you guys don't listen to this, but on the off chance that somebody in the WWE is listening to it, there's much better ways to do this than the 2 out of 3 falls just to appease the break. Like, it's not working. It's a distraction for me, and honestly, it gives me if I wasn't so involved in wrestling, this would make me just turn off the entire product and just watch something completely different. I like the picture-in-picture thing on SmackDown. To me, that works. And it's funny because the people who were complaining about the picture-in-picture thing are now saying that they would rather have the picture-in-picture thing. But it's better. If you're wanting us to sit there and watch it, let's just do that. Or direct people to... I remember, maybe when the network started, maybe 6 months into the network, there was a feature where you guys were showing it on the app. That, even to me, that's better than this whole, we're going to start the match at this point in time. I don't like that as a distraction. Also, we had a 4-way women's match for the women's title. I think it was for the Raw women's title, if I'm not mistaken, against Becky Lynch. And this match went on for I want to say 15 or 20 minutes. And again, it was a victim of one of those commercial breaks, which was terrible. But this match itself was just kind of someone was off on everyone. Everything was just completely off. Even the production of this match was kind of off. I don't know what's going on with the women's division right now, but it's not good, especially on Raw. It needs to get better, and it's not it's not so much the performers in the ring itself. It just seems stale. Like I hate to say this, and this is no disrespect on the ladies, but since Sasha left, like this division is just kind of just floundered. A lot of it has to do with them focusing squarely on Lacey Evans and Becky, and not developing the other talent. I think it's a travesty to only have 2 women's matches or 2 women's storylines going on between the 5 hours that they have programming during the week. Like, that's insanely crazy. You have more women's matches on Superstars than you have on your main show, and I don't think that that's fair to the ladies at all. All in all, Natty actually won this match, which was kind of a surprise. I think most of us had Alexa Bliss winning this one to fight Becky, but thinking upon it, I actually like the fact that it's somebody different. Now, Natty was an interesting choice. So for the marks, this makes sense because, hey, it's going to be in Canada, the next pay-per-view where Becky's going to fight. So, Natty's got the perceived home court advantage kind of thing. But I'm thinking about it a little bit deeper, and I'm like, would WWE bring back Ronda Rousey to screw over Becky for talking all that smack and have her lose the title to Natty in her hometown? Like, could that actually be a thing that could happen? And the more I think about it, the more I think that would have made more sense. Because if it wasn't you're going to get a huge pop either way with Ronda coming out. You're going to get a pop with Natty. You're going to get a huge pop with Becky. I don't know where I was going with that. But you can. It's missing something to make it over the top, and I think a Ronda Rousey resurgence would be something interesting. Like, I think that you could do that, especially with it being a little bit more physical. We're seeing a little bit more color with the girls or with the ladies. I wouldn't be surprised. Don't sleep on it, man. I think Ronda Rousey is going to return at SummerSlam. So mark my words. Your boy Sage the Mark coming out with the hot take. Ben Goosen's old thing. Hot take. Sage the Mark says that's gonna happen. And then the main event was it was basically like 6-7 men in there to fight Brock Lesnar for the title. Not much takeaway in here. I did like the showcase of Biggie. I hate the fact that he got eliminated pretty early, but I absolutely understand. But yeah, I thought that him and Braun Strowman going at it, like, I would like to see that Biggie versus Braun Strowman. That really caught my attention. I think that that's going to be an interesting thing if they decided to do that in the future. But Seth Rollins ultimately got the win on this one here. How do I feel about this is another matter, because one of the things that we were promised was no automatic rematches, and yet we've had 3 rematches with Lacey Evans for the title, and then we have Seth Rollins finding a loophole to fight Brock Lesnar. And to be honest with you, I would have much rather to see Cesaro versus. I would have loved to see Cesaro versus Brock Lesnar and have Cesaro take the belt off of him with the heel turn from Paul Heyman. I'm just saying, like, that could have been an opportunity. And I'm not saying that they don't have anything that's lined up that would be even better, but to me, at least it gives some type of believability. No one wants to see Braun versus. We don't want to see Braun. We don't want to see Roman. I think that we're getting tired of Seth fighting Brock Lesnar as well. So it would be interesting to see something completely different. But, it is what it is. But yeah, the highlight of Raw, though, hands down, was Bray Wyatt. more formerly known as Bray Wyatt, the Fiend actually came out and attacked Finn Balor after his loss to Samoa Joe. And I have to say, man, I love the production of how they did this. I flippin' marked completely out. Finn was in the ring. He was doing his, his arms out, kind of thing. And on his last one, you just hear like his music just wind down, like, and then you hear, and all the lights are just simultaneously coming out, like section by section, until it was completely dark, like pitched dark on TV. Could not see anything, but you could hear that there was some slamming going on in the ring, like some actual action coming onto the ring. And then all of a sudden you see like these spotlights just going into the center, in and out of the mask of the Fiend. And I'm like, oh my God, my boy is back. I'm so excited. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. Bray has finally resurged. And yes, man, we got the Fiend on there. He did the Sister Abigail, which I'll talk about that in just a second. But he did the Sister Abigail. The lights come on. He has his arms completely spread out. Crowd is going wild. Social media is going wild. Bray Wyatt is back. Absolutely, absolutely love it. I don't like the fact that he's using Sister Abigail. I wish he would have come out with a different maneuver. I think that it would have been a little bit more impactful than using the Sister Abigail. But I'm completely okay with it. Where we go from here with Bray Wyatt is my most interesting thing. The Fiend is the person who takes the action. So I am hoping, and I pray that we don't see the Fiend cut a promo. I don't want to see that at all. I like the Fiend. To me, the Fiend is what Finn Balor should have been. Like, when you're in the mask and you're in the costume and you're in the character, you don't talk. You let the ass whooping in the ring do the talking for you. I'm hoping that we get Bray Wyatt is the one who actually does cuts the promos. And I would love it to even be sociopathic to the point where he's like, I don't know what you guys are talking about, kind of thing. That wasn't me. I have no. And then they keep pressing him. He gets irritated, puts the gloves up to his ears, and then just ends up transforming into the Fiend. I know that's kind of crazy, but that's what I want. I want there to be a clear distinction between the Fiend and Bray Wyatt. I want Bray Wyatt to be the on-screen promo person, and I want the Fiend to be the one who comes out and does the action. And I would even love it if both of them fought independently. Like Bray Wyatt lost, and then he gets his rematch as the Fiend. And you had the heel being Bray Wyatt, Heal, and then you have the hurt being the Fiend. Like, there's so much you could do with this, and I love it, man. I am so excited to see what they do with that. I hope they don't mess it up. There needs to be another level of dynamic to the Fiend's character, and I think that if you do that, you separate them two and play on the sociopathic persona. I think that this will be a win, hit out of the park for everyone. As far as Finn Balor, I do not want to see Finn Balor come back at all. And I especially don't want him to come back as the demon and fight at SummerSlam. To me, I think that that's a waste of an appearance. I think that the Fiend comes in, and this is also the reason why I wish he would have used a different impact move than the Sister Abigail. I would have wanted him to hit that on them, and then we just don't see him, for a couple of months. Like, we don't see him until Survivor Series. And then Survivor Series comes out, and then we get the demon just resurging. Like, you put, let's say we book the Fiend against like Apollo Crews, and he dispatches him in like a minute and a half. Like, just a complete utter, and no disrespect to Crews, but I'm just saying, you put him in that match, and the Fiend just destroys him, and then all of a sudden, after the match comes over, you hear doo doo, doo doo, oh, dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Like, that would be sick. And then we just have those two go at it. You know, that, oh my gosh, man, that would be amazing. That's what we need to do. I mean, I don't mean to feature book like that, but that's what I want to see. Like, I want to see some type of dynamic like that, where it's just like that complete storytelling from SummerSlam, or, you know, post Extreme Rules up to Survivor Series, between those two. But yeah, we need to have the Fiend just take people out, continuously take people out, and Bray Wyatt is the one cutting promos, and that's the end of that. So that's my 2 cents, man. That's basically probably one of the feature topic of the evening. So going forward into SmackDown. SmackDown was actually a pretty good show. I like the fact that Raw didn't have Shane McMahon. And I like the fact that he came onto SmackDown, because to me, he's a SmackDown character. You need to keep him on SmackDown. Regardless if there's no brand split, like, Shane just needs to be on SmackDown, period. It just makes the show better. Whether you like him or not, his personality just drives it a lot better. You know, we got a backstage segment between him and Kevin Owens. It was kind of like an earlier in the day kind of thing, where he just basically gave him the night off, kind of thing. And then in the spirit of that event, he did a town hall. All the superstars from the back came out, just kind of aired their grievances. You know, nothing too notable. It was pretty interesting. I did like the eye jousting between Mandy Rose and Biggie. I thought that was pretty hilarious. But, you know, nothing. The only thing that, like, the takeaway that I have from that, to be honest with you, is just I like the fact that Liv Morgan spoke up and said that, hey, you know, I'm here. There's nothing real with you. To Charlotte Flair and her, and then that ended up leading into a match, and I liked that. I like that it wasn't a squash match per se, and I do like the fact that after Liv Morgan lost, you know, she came out and basically said that Charlotte's right. When I come back, I will be real. And so it essentially, to me, it alludes that we're going to get a repackage of Liv Morgan, which I like. I hope that she comes back with a little bit more of a serious tone. Strip all the color out of her hair. No more the Kool-Aid in the tongue kind of thing. Just like she had the skill in the ring. Like, the skills are there. They're actually there. They're a lot better than but a lot better than many of the women to date. And they just need to showcase many of the women that are on the current roster, I should say. They came out during the same time. They just need to capitalize on that. Like I said, put it in a little bit more of a serious tone. To me, I think she parallels too closely to both Alexa and Carmella, and you need to make her her own character. Like, that's what I think that we need to do with her. So I'm rooting for her. I really am rooting for Liv Morgan all the way through. So, but we'll see. You know, we'll see what that actually leads to. You know, the KO and I don't want to talk about that. The New Day, they got all the gold. You know, Big E and Xavier won the tag team titles, and Kofi retained his title. And, you know, we have all been saying, probably for, you know, at least here on this podcast, for the last 2 years, when they started doing the whole Freebird with the titles, wouldn't it be cool if they won a third title and they Freebirded all three of those rules? All three of those titles. And I'm thinking that by Survivor Series, we might have like a one, you know, winner takes all kind of approach, where they lose all the titles. Like, you have a tag team title, a 6-man tag, kind of thing, and then, you know, someone loses one title and they all lose it all. I like that. Like, call me crazy, but I like that, because I think that I don't want to see the New Day break up, but if they do break up, I would love it to where it's Xavier or Big E defending the world title, the WWE title, and they lose it, and Kofi gets upset, and then that kind of leads to the split of the New Day. Again, don't get me wrong, I don't want to see the New Day split up, but if you're gonna go in that particular direction, I think that would be amazing. And call me crazy, but I still think the New Day is more impactful than the Shield. Their longevity has been longer than the Shield has. They've been in more memorable matches, and more 5-star matches up to 5-star matches than the Shield has been. So I don't subscribe to this notion that the Shield is the greatest 3-man team, whether it's the modern or of all time. I definitely put the New Day above them. And if you don't agree, let me know in the chat, or hashtag IRWP, and let me know what you guys think. But there's just no way that anybody is better than the New Day. Like, they're just great. New Day rocks. So, but yeah, let's see if they hit that Freebird rule. See what they do with that. So that would be interesting. Cesaro kind of mentioned the he fought Aleister Black. That was actually a pretty good match as well. Going to be interesting to see what Cesaro does going forward, because I feel like they're giving him a little bit more of a push than they had been in the previous times. And, with him losing to Aleister Black, then the question is going to be, like, where does he go from here? I will say this, though. I know that we don't like Frankenstein teams. Like, we're kind of sick of it. We have Rowan and Daniel Bryan. I can't think of any other. Zack Ryder and the Hype Bros kind of thing. Like I know that we're kind of tired of Frankenstein teams, but I like Cesaro and Aleister Black. Like, to me, that would be a sick team, man. Like, I would enjoy it. I don't know about you guys, but I would enjoy it. But I know that everybody's kind of clamoring with Aleister Black, and I like this whole knock on my door thing. You can still give that a run for a couple of months and see what comes through. So, I think we're even going to get Shinsuke Nakamura versus Ali, which that should actually be a pretty good match as well. There's a lot of good things happening, man. I could definitely feel, and I understand that that they're saying that Bischoff was not involved in this week's SmackDown, but I will say that it feels a lot different than it did in the past. So I'm here for it, guys. I am definitely here for it. So, but that's SmackDown, guys. I don't know, man. SmackDown's starting to get its ground again. I will say that I was definitely a little worried because of all of the movements, and it felt like all of the creative was being focused back on Raw, and a lot of the ideas on SmackDown were being taken for Raws. But it's good to see that things have starting to change. So we'll see. We'll definitely see how that kind of plays out. So be sure you guys, again, follow us. It's Real Wrestling Podcast, all spelled out, on Instagram. Hit IRWP Sage in YouTube search, and you'll find us here. It's Real Wrestling Podcast. At Real Wrestling Podcast, at Real WrestleCast on Twitter as well. You want to support your boys, go to patreon.com/IRWP. Currently working on Project Canyon, but still needs your support in order to do that. So make sure you guys go there and stuff. So I want to end the show this week on a couple of notes here. One, if you want to be a guest on the show, I love doing guest hosts. So if you guys are interested in going through the week of wrestling, or also talking about other things, other sports events or anything like that, current events, we can do that. But just let me know. DM me in any of our social platforms and let us know. And we'll get you on the show. If you have a promotion that you would like us to interview, although I do like interviewing wrestlers, I am more interested in interviewing the people who don't get interviewed. So like the production staff as well as the promoters. So if there's a promotion that you would like us to interview, please let us know that too. Hit hashtag IRWP on any of these social platforms and let us know, or hit us in the DMs and let us know. We'll reach out to them and see who we can. If you have any certain questions you want us to answer or get to them, we can do that as well. I'll definitely have, I'll definitely keep those in mind. I have a couple in the works right now. And as soon as I get those finalized with dates on them, I will let you guys know. I'll let you guys know that are subscribed to our Patreon when that time is and whatnot. So you guys make sure you get on that patreon.com/IRWP for that particular event. I want to. I try not to be, on the show political or anything like this, and I'm not going to go into it pretty deep and heavy and stuff like this, man, but I'm worried, guys, and I'm not going to say that I'm not, but I'm worried at the state of where we are from a humanitarian standpoint. I feel like we're so disconnected from each other that it's crazy. Like, we can't respect anyone's difference of opinions any longer. There's constant bickering back and forth. Like, we don't hear each other anymore. And it's sad. It makes me want to cry. And it sounds like I'm crying on the stream, but I'm not trying to. But yeah, man, sometimes we just need to take a step back and just say, yo, like, could I have handled this a better way? Can I handle this a better way? Can I communicate to someone better and let them know how I feel? And just say that I hear you. We all belong to the same race, the human race. And we have to start acting like it. I feel like we forget that. We see things in color codes and that's it. We become tribal and it's insane. Like, I go to wrestling events and Goose and I used to talk about this all the time. I go to wrestling events and we don't see, even if it's just for that 2 hours that we're there, we don't see black, white, red, pink, blue, green. We just see wrestling fans having a good time. We disagree on storylines and boos being botched and stuff like that, but not to the point where we get crazy and start hurting each other and start calling each other like derogatory names. We got to do better, guys. Like, we got to do better. We only got one story to write, and that's our own. And at the end of our chapter, our book, we need to reflect and say that we do everything that we possibly could to make this world a better place than when we came into existence, when we left it. So, but yeah, I mean, that's I preach love and respect all the time, guys, and that's just what I kind of want to end on, guys. Let's have a little more respect for each other. We can all disagree on things, but let's disagree on principle. And not the way that we look, because we're all human. So, all right, guys, that's going to be it in this show. Thank you so much for listening and tuning in. I am going to do a giveaway next week. I might actually just post a separate video for that, so y'all keep that in mind. I'll have that, going up to Survivor Series, not Survivor Series, SummerSlam. So y'all make sure to like, subscribe, share this video out as well. Make sure you have the bell notifications on YouTube, so that way when I drop that giveaway video, you guys won't be left out of the loop on that there, because I'm definitely going to drop it before the next show. So, and thank you so much. A special thank you to the podcaster or people who listen to our podcast, our audio version of it. I know that I've kind of let you guys down with missing 5 weeks, not uploading for 5 weeks, and I apologize for that. I sincerely appreciate you guys still staying subscribed and being patient while we're going through this transition. I am completely grateful for you guys. But truth be told, I would like to hear from you guys. Even if you come and just say, hey, Sage, you're doing a bad job of not keeping us up to date with what's going on. Like, I need to hear from you guys as well. So, again, hit the hashtag IRWP. Doesn't matter what platform you are on. Just hit that hashtag IRWP. Let me know what's up. So that way I know that you guys are alive and well. Because I know you guys are listening. I see the downloads. I see the 1,600 downloads that you guys do. So I know you guys are out there. But I need to hear from you too. So with that being said, thank you so much, guys, for tuning into It's Real Wrestling Podcast. I love doing this for you guys. It's definitely a passion project that I love to do. But love one another, respect one another, say hello to a wrestling fan. Wear an old school, like your boy, Sage the Mark, wrestling. First I hear wrestling fans come up to me all the time and oh, you still watch wrestling? Mad respect. Watch, you having the Macho Man Randy Savage kind of thing. When are you going to wear a whole coat? Whoa. I can't do that, though. But I always rep the Macho Man. Macho's the man. I digress, guys. Thank you so much again for coming out, listening, enjoying the show. Y'all know the drill. Keep it real.